Hey everyone, Dana here.
And Mom.
And Dad.
And today we are back again with another video answering some questions. We did another Q&A video. I'll link to it up here and down in the description. And yeah, thank you so much. There were so many great questions. Today in this video, I'm going to be asking my parents some questions related to like Germany, Europe, my life here, kind of also America. Let's just get into it. All right, so let's start with an easy one.
Good.
Okay. Do you like Munich and Germany?
Yes.
Yes, we love traveling,
Yes.
first
Yeah.
of all, and seeing new places. And so we've been to Munich a couple times. I love the parks. It's a very metropolitan city, which is I like very much because I grew up in New York. But we haven't seen all of Munich, so every time we come, we see something a little bit different.
Yeah, it's very walkable. I like it. I like the transportation, and I like visiting you and Stefan.
Okay, so basically I would say for the next question, in the last 10 years, since I moved to Europe, what countries have you visited in Europe? Because
Since
I know
you moved here?
Yeah, because
Oh,
I know when I
okay.
was younger, you did some traveling and you
okay.
visited some countries in
Well-
Europe,
But not me.
right, not you. So I'm saying since I moved here 10 years ago,
We've been to Germany. We've been to Austria. We've been to the Czech Republic.
yeah,
And
Spain.
we've been to Spain.
yeah,
And we've been to Heathrow Airport, if that counts.
doesn't count.
Doesn't count. Okay.
It would be interesting to see what they think about how I've changed since moving overseas and how you feel that I've become more Germanized. Have I been doing any things differently since moving to Germany? Less the American style maybe and more the German style. Like, what have you noticed?
So that's also a difficult question because you've also grown
Yeah.
while you've lived here. You've not stayed the same age.
Yeah.
And so as we grow, we tend to change and mature and things like that. But I would say that if I try to take that out of it, then I would say that you've opened up your horizons of trying things, more adventurous. And probably as we grow and discover more places, our food tastes mature or change or broaden, however you want to phrase that. But I think living in Europe introduced you to more different types of foods and ways of doing things. So certainly that, changes in kind of how we have large glasses of ice everywhere or something that's,
Yeah.
that things are different and that it's customs are different and that you're more open to understanding that. And I've noticed that you tend now to drink your soft drinks without ice.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah,
That's a big one.
I do like them with ice, but I don't need it with
Right.
ice anymore.
Yeah, I think maybe you don't think about it, or I've never heard you articulate it, but you grew up in several places in the United States that were suburban or even in the country. And for the last 10 years, you've lived in two large cities, and you've acclimated to a completely different lifestyle than what you grew up with.
That's true. The more walking, more.
Well, public transportation, more people, crowded.
That was cool. That was cool to hear your answers and hear what you think about that. This is, of course, a huge question, but so you don't have to have the answer. It's just like what comes off the top of your head. What would you say, boom, off the top of your head now? What do you think, what's the biggest difference between Americans and Europeans? And I know Europeans is tricky because it's a
very
bunch of
broad
So
generalization.
what about Americans and Germans? Is that, or just a few things? just see what comes off the top of your head.
And that's hard because America is also very diverse, and
Yeah.
we've not lived in a lot of America. We have West Coast, Midwest, Eastern. They're different, North, South. So we have a lot of differences just in America,
Yeah.
across America. And so in general, Americans.
I think Americans tend to be more materialistic. That's my sense of it. That we are driven by accumulating wealth and having a lifestyle. I think you see that all up and down the spectrum in the United States, that people are just more concentrating on what they can get for themselves and how it affects their lifestyle.
And you don't think that's the case in Europe, or?
Well, I haven't lived in Europe,
Yeah.
so I was just from a visitor's standpoint and things that I've read, it doesn't seem to be quite as intense.
I don't know that I would phrase it quite like that. I think how I see it is not materialism, or not that we're driven by things, because there's certainly a huge movement in the U.S. for minimalism, or is a large one for about things, and they've been writing about that for a lot, accumulating stuff just to have it, or wealth just to have it. But our concept, certainly I think we've talked about this, and not having worked in Europe, I don't really know, but hearing you guys talk about work, that we do seem to have this sense of working more than 40 hours, or working, I don't take my vacation. Not that, I know people do, but it's kind of a badge of honor to only take a week at a time, or to work on the weekends, or to work more hours than you need to. And sometimes it's not people's choice. Sometimes their job demands that of them. So I'm not suggesting that people are doing this out of choice. Sometimes they feel it's out of necessity. But that we think it's a necessity, that to get ahead, this is what you have to do. I don't get the sense from talking with you and Stefan that seems to be the attitude in Europe. Not having worked in Europe, I don't know, I'm just going off of you two, but to me that would kind of be the largest difference, I think, or my sense of kind of a difference.
There seems to be more of a communal aspect of life here. There seems to be more of an emphasis on the societal aspect of life, as opposed to United States, where it seems to be way more individualistic.
I think this next question is mostly a question for Dad, and it is German beer or American beer? That's why it's a question for Dad, because
Mom doesn't drink beer.
Yeah,
well, okay. So I enjoy coming to Europe and drinking the Czech beers and the German beers, because we don't get them so much in the United States. The American beers, there's more variety now. There's all types of beers.
With the craft beer, right?
With the craft beers, yes, exactly. Craft brewing is beginning to make itself known in Europe, but when I come to Europe, I am sticking with the traditional European beers, because that's what we don't get at home.
When my mom and Dad were in Germany, I think, right? Dad ordered a Radler, not knowing what it was. He ordered a Radler.
Not a good experience.
And my dad didn't like it, but my mom did like it.
She did drink it.
This is quite nice.
I enjoy the beer gardens, which we've been to in Munich quite a bit. A year and a half ago, I had my first experience at Oktoberfest, and that was a lot of fun. Not just the beer, but just the whole ceremony and the excitement of Oktoberfest was a lot of fun.
What are the top 3 things that you would bring from Germany to the U.S. and from the U.S. to Germany, if you could, and it could be anything?
I would bring from Germany to the United States, having all the stores closed on Sunday.
Interesting. Okay.
We don't rest in the United States. The stores are open early in the morning till late at night, 365 days a year except Christmas and New Year's. And it's just too much. There's no downtime. Everything is go, go, go.
So I think from Europe to the U.S., I would bring maybe 2 things. So they said top 3, right?
Yeah,
2 things. So,
however much you want to give.
So a couple of things along the same lines of Daddy, which is that in our bigger, very bigger cities, we have public transportation. But in like this town that we live in, it's kind of there, but it's not super functional. I mean, you can't really use it to get around easily. So I would bring I don't want to say public transportation, but the idea that it is a necessity, or a way that it should be part of a community, a functioning public transportation system that works more than with routes once an hour or something. Then the other thing I would bring is and it does exist probably in parts of the U.S. where maybe I haven't necessarily always lived, smaller towns. We have not really lived in super small towns, but a little bit slower life. The more idea, I guess what we've talked about in restaurants, right, is that in a U.S. restaurant, it's kind of not that they don't kick you out per se, but the minute you kind of finish your coffee, if you don't order dessert, they have the bill there, and they always say no rush. I mean, it is always
they say no rush, but
you can't just sit.
But you couldn't just sort of sit, even after the coffee's done or after the beer is finished, sit and continue to converse for an hour or 30 minutes or so. They would probably start, looking at you. And it's not considered correct.
In American restaurants, you're usually supposed to get in, eat,
and get out.
Get out.
I would bring that sense of just a slightly less hectic kind of thinking to the U.S. And the other way around? Is that the question?
Yeah, anything? I mean, I know you've come here as visitors, and so it's hard to say. Right. But is there anything that while you were here, you were like, but I guess I have to say, I do kind of miss that, or I like that?
I do like the chit-chat from the U.S. And I do like when we're at the grocery store, or when you're in line, and I know that some people think it's fake, but it is. I think it is a little bit of a just nicety to not just make it a transaction. I guess what it does is it slows the transaction down, which is what I'm seeking with the restaurants, right?
Yeah, so here in Germany, you can just chill at the restaurants, but when you go to buy something at the supermarket, you gotta go quick. Yeah. But
so I guess that's what I would bring.
We talked a little bit about languages in the other Q&A video, but there's a question here. Can you speak German? Or I know that you can't speak German, so did you ever learn German in school or no?
I had the chance to learn either German, French, or Spanish. And for whatever reason, I picked French.
Francais. My mother and grandmother spoke some German in the home, and so they always told me, mach schnell.
So go quickly. Hey, so you got a little bit. Yeah. So going along with that, the next one is, can you teach them some German really fast? Ooh. So I'm going to teach you some German words.
I can count to 10.
Let's hear you count to 10.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
And then the next one is a lovely one. It's elf. Isn't that cute?
Elf.
Yeah, the number for 11 is elf. So how about the German word for vacuum cleaner? I love in German, there are a lot of compound words, like how in English, rainbow is rainbow. So we have some of those in English, but German has a lot of these kind of compound words, and I love them. In German, the word for vacuum is Staubsauger. That's one word, and Staub is the word for dust, and Sauger is sucker.
Oh.
So it's literally
dust sucker.
Yeah. It is Staubsauger.
Staubsauger.
Yeah.
Staubsauger.
There you go. Staubsauger. Yeah. Another one is, when you are trying to make something better. You're trying to fix something, but in the end, you just make it even worse. German has a word for this. It is verschlimmbessern.
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 Yes,
and
because
what's it mean?
Bessern means to make something better, and verschlimm means to make something worse. So you are literally making worse, making better. Give me another word, Stefan.
Ach du lieber.
Look at that.
That's from all this from your grandmother.
Ach du lieber.
So we will put advertising up in the corner.
Yeah.
Because your book is called You Go Me on the Cookie.
Yes.
And what is the German sentence?
So my book is You Go Me on the Cookie, and that's a literal translation of the German idiom Du gehst mir auf den Keks. Du
gehst,
gehst
Gehst,
mir
mir,
auf
auf,
den
den,
Keks.
Du gehst mir auf
Den
den
Keks.
Keks.
Yes, exactly. And so it's du, you, gehst, go, mir, me, auf, on, den, the cakes,
Cakes, the
cookie.
cookie.
Yeah. And what it basically means is you're annoying me. You're going me on the cookie.
Yeah.
You're annoying me.
Yeah.
And in my book, I talk about some of these words that I like and some of the tricky things with German. Like in the sentence that I just said, du gehst mir auf den Cakes. We've talked about this while they've been here.
the den, der.
That it changes.
The article.
So you have to learn, is it der Cakes, die Cakes, das Cakes, and does it change
Right.
to den Cakes, dem Cakes, des Cakes, des Cakeses? I don't know. Yeah, I got it. Des Cakeses. Stefan is shaking his head. Yes. One more word. Let's have one more thing, Stefan. Nachtschnecke. We gotta do Nachtschnecke.
Nacht.
So
Nachtschnecke.
Nacht.
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 Like
Nacht.
night?
No, that's
No?
right, exactly. That's how I love this word, and
Nacht.
yet it does not stop me from sometimes doing it wrong.
Huh.
Nacht is night.
Nacht is night. And
Yeah.
this is Nacht.
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 Yeah.
Okay, not the ch.
Right, exactly.
Nacht.
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 Schnecke.
Schnecke.
Schnecke. Nacht. Schnecke.
That is the German word for a slug.
Oh.
But
Nacht.
the
Schnecke.
the special thing, a snail in German is a Schnecke, and Nacht means naked.
Oh.
So a slug is
A
A naked
It's a
snail.
naked
Well, that's
snail.
very descriptive. I
yes,
like that.
Nachtschnecke. And then there are just some other words that I think sound really nice in German. I made a video about that, like Mülldeponie.
Mülldeponie.
Yeah, but you
Mülldeponie.
just said Mülldeponie.
It still sounds nice when Stefan says it.
Mülldeponie.
Mülldeponie. I like how it sounds.
Mülldeponie.
Mülldeponie.
It's the landfill, but it sounds nice.
Yeah,
The
it does.
dump.
Yeah, but it sounds nice. And on that,
On that note,
on
thank
that
you all.
note, wait, we need a question.
Oh.
We need a
Oh.
question. So
our
question for you is,
is
what are your thoughts on these questions? What kind of answers would you give to these questions? Please let us know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. We really hope that you enjoyed this video. I will link to the other Q&A video with my parents up there. I think that's it.
Yeah.
Do you think that's it?
That's
I think
it.
Now we just need to say goodbye. Do you remember how to say goodbye?
Auf
What comes before that?
Wiedersehen.
Until
Till
next
next time.